YouTube people, what is going on? Northeast Ohio Cards and Comics here to talk some Marvel cards today. It has been a while since we kind of did a little bit of a deep dive into some, specifically today, 90 Marvel Universe, like we like to talk about on the channel, but just going to talk a little Marvel in general here as well. So, like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff down below. We are going to dive into some Marvel shenanigans, but first, today's video is sponsored by our friends over at MySlabs.com. And not only can you sell sports cards, comic books, you can also sell Marvel cards over there. There are a lot of Marvel slabs listed on MySlabs. So if you're looking to either buy and or sell your Marvel trading cards graded, go check out MySlabs.com, a big supporter of the channel, and I'm a big supporter of them. 1% seller fees plus PayPal goods and services. Absolutely fantastic platform. I've been doing a lot more of my buying and selling over there as opposed to some of the others. So quick word from our sponsor, and then we will dive into today's video.
Tired of paying 10%, 15% or more to sell your cards, comics, and digital collectibles? How does 1% sound? Too good to be true? Well, not anymore. MySlabs.com is the web's premier user-driven marketplace for buying and selling slabbed cards, sealed wax, and now slabbed comics and digital collectibles. So the next time you're forced to pay 10% or more to sell something from your collection, head over to MySlabs.com and join the 1% revolution.
Once again, thanks to our pals over at MySlabs.com for sponsoring this video. And now we're going to jump into another tool that I like to use on the channel, Market Movers. Market Movers has a very handy chart any card / sealed wax feature. And today we are going to utilize that, or I have utilized it to chart 1990 Marvel Universe sealed boxes. It's been a long time since I checked in on these. And I was, I guess not surprised, but interested to find that since the summer, they've actually been trending upwards. We can see here now with the chart any product, whether it's sealed card or sealed wax, you don't have control. You don't have custom controls over the time ranges and stuff like that. And you have to do a little bit of cleanup. Specifically, what it catches a lot of is people like to make listings that say, 1990 Marvel Universe box with 36 sealed packs, because it's an open box with 36 packs in it. Those usually sell for a few $100s less, so you got to kind of go through the data, and what you could do is actually add and remove things from the search field. So I have done that here to kind of clean things up a little bit. But this is going back to the beginning of August, so almost 3 full months. And you could see, just roughly speaking, sealed boxes of 90MU are on the way back up again. They got as cheap back in August. These were going for around $600, $600, some in the mid 5s to low 6s. And then currently recent sales, $725, $720, $825, $810, $750. So up about $100 to $150, just depending. And you have some going even higher. A few of these $800 and $900 sales seem legit. Some are auctions, some are buy it nows. So, they peaked back in the winter, January, February, March, when, they were all the rage. Pulled back, and now have started to slowly climb back up again. I don't know why. I'm guessing a couple things. One, I'm wondering if people are starting to grade a little more with some of the alternative grading companies available, though I didn't dig too deep into this, but generally speaking, a lot of the Marvel stuff, like we've looked at in the past, just does not comp very well in non-PSA slabs. It's even a little worse than sports cards in some cases. Or supply may be starting to dry up. These things have been around for a while. There was a massive buying spree of them in the spring. People said the supply was endless. But as we usually see that happens with sealed wax, it's not an infinite supply. Eventually, it's going to start getting smaller and smaller and smaller. That's why a lot of people like sitting on sealed wax. So it could be a little bit of that as well. Also, another thing that it could be is I feel like, and I don't have any one thing to point to. I can't point to a Gary Vee tweet. I can't point to, some other influencer, Steve Aoki, whoever. But I feel like Marvel stuff in general is starting to get a little buzzy again. I've just seen some stuff, on different YouTube videos and floating around social of people talking about like, hey man, get in on some Marvel stuff. I got a feeling. And I keep hearing more and more of that. Now, a lot of it is not centered necessarily around 90 Marvel Universe. In fact, a lot of it is, which this isn't anything too surprising, is PMGs are still going crazy pricing wise. And a lot of the hype is centered around PMGs. But it is starting to bleed into some other stuff. Jambalayas are getting very trendy, very popular sports insert set from back in the day as well. There's some EX cards that are floating around out there that are getting a little trendy. Obviously, PMGs we've talked about before. And I think it's starting to filter down to some of this stuff as well. And we're still seeing, we're going to get into some single card prices on 90 anyway, 90 MU, where stuff's still selling really good if, and only if, you can nail a PSA 10. Let's talk about this for a second. I'll go into some more broad-based. I pulled a couple examples of this, and the gap is not always this wide, but it's this wide on key characters. So here we have a Thanos PSA 10, 1990 Marvel Universe. This just sold a couple days ago, 828, 3 days ago, $560 at auction. A couple things. One, Thanos stuff is doing very well. Two, still an extremely strong price for a PSA 10. If you were really confident in your grading ability and you really wanted to risk it for the biscuit, I guess you could send some of this stuff in at $150 express level, but you better feel real good about your ability to judge these cards. And having graded a lot of them, I will tell you they are tricky. Centering is very tricky. Surface, they have little light surface marks sometimes, and then obviously your corners and edges as well. A lot of people overlook those, I think, sometimes. They get so focused on centering. Centering is not the only thing on the card to look at. Surface on these is very easy to miss stuff, regardless. PSA 10, $560. Very, very strong still, considering we are this far in. Yes, some of this stuff was $1,000, $2,000 back in January and February, but all cards, sports cards and otherwise, were astronomically priced back then. Everything's kind of reset itself. This is still going for a very strong price, in my opinion. Now, the caveat here is, let's look at PSA 9 of the same card, which basically ended at about the same time. Literally almost the same time. In fact, I think within 5 minutes of each other. Here's the exact same card in a PSA 9 for $39. Yikes. Without being able to see the card really well, top to bottom centering is slightly off. Ever so slightly. That's the only thing I see at a quick glance. And a lot of this stuff is hard to see if the card is not in your hand. That bottom right corner looks a little soft right there. A little bit. Once again, hard to tell not having the card in hand. But those would be the two. At a quick glance, without being able to see surface, it's nearly impossible to see surface on photos. That back corner, in my opinion, and top to bottom front centering is why that nailed a 10. Yeah, that one's a little bit more squared up. A little bit fatter on the bottom. And those corners look a little better. Regardless, that's not what I was. Sorry, we're a little deep dive there. But look at the price difference between these two. This is what I was talking about before. If you're real confident in your ability, because imagine, listen, I've graded a lot of these. Not a lot, but like probably more than a lot of people. I think I've probably sent in at least 3 dozen of these, and I have a very high success rate on PSA 10s on 90 Marvel Universe. This is the consequences if you don't pull the 10. $150 grading fee, and your card goes for $40 in a PSA 9. So you lost $110 plus shipping plus insurance to and fro. Yikes. Plus eBay fees. You're going to lose 15% to eBay. So, ouch. Now, this person probably did not grade these at $150 a cart. I'm guessing they went in at a cheaper service level, 30, 40 bucks, whatever it is, and got them back and posted them, which is perfectly fine. I'm just more talking about, like, I'm going to go buy a box of 90 MU at 800 bucks, 750 bucks a box. Hope I get something good out of it, and then pay 150 bucks a card to grade it. Not quite there yet. Now, when PSA's next service level, if they open regular up at 75 bucks, personally, I might be a little tempted, but I am a little bit more confident in my ability on grading these. So maybe at that point in time, I'd be willing to gamble and rip a box. Also, I just really kind of want to rip a box of 90 MU that I have behind me. But I actually still have 90 MU stuff to send in for grading that I didn't get in prior to the price hike. A second example, just to show that this isn't a one-off. Here's a Black Panther, once again, PSA 10. eBay sale, same thing a couple days ago, different seller. PSA 10, Black Panther, went for $545. Very well centered. Top, bottom looks good. Back looks good. Nice, clean, crisp corners. Then over here, different seller. Yeah, different seller, same day. 46 bucks on the PSA 9. Quick glance here. This is kind of like a challenge. I did not expect to do this. Left to right looks off ever so slightly, but not much. Not seeing anything there. I think that edge. See that bottom left corner right there? Once again, I don't know how well this will show up on your phone screen or your iPad or whatever. That bottom left corner there, you could see like two, like fraying right to the left of the corner of the red. About, within the bottom little bit of the card there, you see some white strands of fiber coming off the side of the card. That'll ding it on an edge grade for sure. That's pretty noticeable. Bottom right corner looks a little soft there as well. Looks a little rounded off there. See how it doesn't look perfectly square like that one does? That one looks sharp. That one looks just a little soft to me. Once again, hard to tell looking at it online. And once again, was not planning on critiquing why this got a PSA 9. I just always curious to see if I like to see the reason why it got dinged. But once again, same thing. Massive price increase from the 10 to the 9. And you see it across the board. So I'm going to pop over to 130 point here. And there's actually a bunch of these that ended this past week. I did not realize this. So I scrolled through a bunch of these because a lot of them were the versus and the team picture cards. So even these, if you send them in at the lower grading, you're doing just fine. But these in a PSA 10 are going for about 150 bucks. Even the more marquee ones, like this Spider-Man versus Venom going for 179. That's probably the best battle card, famous battle card you could pull, I would be willing to say. X-Men versus Magneto is not bad for 170, but in general, these sit at around 150-ish. There's that Thanos that sold. So key characters are still doing pretty good. There's the Thanos there. Here's a Wolverine for 275 Canadian, so that's like 250-ish, I think, maybe a little less. Just kind of scrolling through here really quickly. X-Men team picture 165. Actually really like that card. I have that in a lower grade that Flipping Steve gave me. Blob 140. Doctor Doom doing pretty well, 320. Here's that Black Panther 345. Here's a Stan Lee for 550. This in a PSA 9 is doing about 60 bucks. Once again, massive swing in price there. Daredevil for 230. Juggernaut, almost 400 bucks, doing quite well. Human Torch, 300. So in general, you could see this stuff is still doing pretty good. If you submitted this stuff in the PSA backlog when it was, 40, 50 bucks a card, as long as you do okay on your 10s, if you hit a few more 10s than 9s, you're probably still going to do quite well on this stuff, in my opinion. As long as you sent the right cards and as long as you weren't completely blind when it comes to grading. And once again, it all comes down to price point. Here's a black suit Spider-Man, went for 405. Black Panther went for 350. Stan Lee went for 800 Canadian, so whatever that would be US. So on and so forth. Cap here for 650. You don't see this Cap card very often. Now, let's pop over and look at some PSA 9s. And the price differences are astronomical. Stan Lee for 65. Here's these comic cards for 25, 30 bucks. Here's the team cards, team pictures, 25, 30 bucks. First covers, or the most valuable comics covers, 25, 30 bucks. Like, even like the Stan Lee is still the premier card in the set. And in a 9, that's pulling $65 at auction. That tells you pretty much all you need to know about the PSA 9s. SGC, I didn't pull it. They're doing okay, but not to the same level as the PSA stuff. Now, maybe for the decreased grading fees. The problem is SGC likes to 9.5 stuff. So SGC's grading scale is slightly different than PSA. They have an SGC 9, an SGC 9.5, and an SGC 10. Whereas PSA just has a 9 or a 10. So if anything is not, dead on, they'll just SGC 9.5 it, and an SGC 9.5 is a death sentence. On the sports card side of things, and kind of on this side of things as well. It is very hard to get your money back on an SGC 9.5. So, and there's also still some liquidity issues on the SGC side of things. There's not a lot of people looking for that slab still. So, to me, the only company that I would grade these with still is PSA. Just unfortunately, it's just not an option right now for the price point. At least not for 90 MU. Now, PMGs is a different story. I didn't do a deep dive on this, but these are just some recent PMG sales. Here's a 2013 Fleer Retro and a PSA 8 Iron Man for 3.6K. There was those other higher PMG sales a few weeks ago when I had Norin Rad on from Sketch Card Archive or Sketch Card Hive and the Marvel Collectors podcast. A lot of those ended up not getting paid for, I believe, or the buyer ended up canceling them. But scroll through here, and some of these are from all different sets. There's 2015 Fleer Retro, 2013 Fleer Retro, 2017 Fleer Retro, 2017 Spider-Man Ultra has PMGs in it that do quite well. The new X-Men set has PMGs in it, X-Men Metal. Those don't sell for nowhere near as much unless it's a key character. But, here's a Deadpool Red PSA 9 for 2K. This Cap in a blue for 3K in a 2013. 2013 is going to be the most valuable because they were the first key ones. But in general, here's a 2017 Fleer Ultra Spider-Man Red, 2.8K. These are raw, going for 2.8K. And even in mid to high grades, PSA 7s, PSA 8s, PSA 9s, these are going to sell for a lot of money. You get into the more random characters here, a little bit less. Black Widow for 304. But PMGs are still getting a lot of buzz, but Marvel in general is getting a lot of buzz right now. We'll see if it keeps up. Maybe this is a cyclical thing. Every winter people go in the Marvel mode. I don't know. But like I said, I'm just hearing a lot of people mention like, oh yeah, man, get in on some Marvel stuff now before it takes off again. So we'll see what happens. I'll keep an eye over it over the next, month or two here and see how the market develops. But it does seem like people are focusing on more things than just 90 Marvel Universe and just PMGs. Flipping Steve's really big into the stickers from, I think, 1976. Charles Fuchs is into, aka stacking gems on IG. He's into the PMGs, but he's really into, I think it's the 1987, 86 comic images. Some of the really old comic images sets are getting a little buzzy. It's all over the place. Everyone's kind of going in different directions with this thing. But in general, it does seem like Marvel's getting a little steam, just a little steam out there in the old social media verse. So that's all I have for you guys and girls today. Like, comment, subscribe. Go check out My Slabs, and we will catch you on the next one. Peace.